Hey there folks, my name is Mr. Mooman11, and you now have even more reason to unlock and level up the new CX-9 submachine gun that just came out a few days ago. That's because we just got a super small patch earlier this week that buffed the CX-9's damage, which is one of the fastest weapon balancing updates I think I've ever seen out of Ravensoft, especially considering the CX-9 was in a pretty good spot even before the update. Who cares if the DMR meta had people one-shot headshotting kids across the map for a whole month? The CX-9 needs one more point of damage. Roll out the update. But before we talk about the buff, I'll quickly go over the stats of the new SMG to see if it's even worth using in the first place. Its most obvious advantage it has over other SMGs is its super fast fire rate. Here, it's most comparable to the Finnick or the Mac-10. The base weapon has a magazine size of just 20 though, which is not a whole lot when you consider it's got a fire rate of over 1,000 rounds a minute. There are a few ammo boosting attachments that we'll cover in just a second when we go over the best weapon loadouts for the CX-9, but this base SMG is definitely something you'll want to level up in 6v6 multiplayer before hitting Verdansk or Rebirth Island. Speaking of multiplayer, to unlock it you need to get 2 longshot kills with any SMG in 5 different multiplayer matches. You are able to get into a game, get your 2 longshots, and back out, and it does count towards your progress, so that can really speed up your unlock time if you just can't wait to start using the CX-9 and don't care about abandoning your poor little teammates. Just please, don't go buy some bundle for it. Activision doesn't need any more of your money, especially since they refuse to use even a fraction of their billions to develop a more robust anti-cheat. But that's a topic for another video. Once you've got your CX-9 unlocked and start leveling it up, you'll find that it's got comparable TTKs to some of the more meta SMGs, but it's not overpowered, and you can still get outgunned by an MP5 all else considered. That's one thing I found over and over with this CX-9 now that I've been using it for a few days now. It's good in a lot of areas, but it's not the best in any one of them. The mini update did increase its damage range slightly and buffed the headshot multiplier from 1.4 to 1.45, but these were pretty small changes overall. In terms of damage output, you'll now be dealing post-patch 34 damage per headshot up close, and 30 damage per headshot when you stretch out your gunfights past 13 meters, which is its 1 damage drop-off range. Body shots up close will do 24 damage per shot, and limb shots will do 21 damage. Effectively, what this means is that you'll be most often getting a time to kill of roughly 588 milliseconds if you hit all body shots. Essentially, what the patch did is made it so that in order to achieve the more difficult TTK of 529 milliseconds, you'll only need to hit 1 headshot instead of 2. For the more accurate players, this is doable every now and then, but the more common body shot TTK of 588 milliseconds is just on the slower side of meta SMGs. When you build it as a sniper support and start pushing the range out to past 13 meters, the TTK does slow down a bit, but the patch did help with buffing it slightly from when it launched. The biggest limiting factor when trying to use the CX-9 as a sniper support is the recoil. It pulls sharply upwards in the first 6 shots or so, and then starts to pull right a bit in a tighter grouping. The recoil is pretty high for an SMG, but the nice thing about it is that it's pretty predictable. If you compare the recoil plot to something like the Mac-10, which has a lot of side-to-side recoil but not as much vertical recoil, you can see how the CX-9 is more viable at longer ranges if you can control the recoil and pull down on your mouse or sticks right when you start firing. That'll get your recoil under control, but unfortunately there is another drawback when trying to use the CX-9 as a sniper support, and that's due to its pretty low base bullet velocity. Still comparing to the base Mac-10, the base CX-9 has a bullet velocity of 275 meters per second, as opposed to 350 meters per second on the Mac. Depending on how you kit it out, you will be able to increase this a bit, but it's still important to point out since any increases will only ever be a % of the base value, which is pretty low compared to several other SMGs. But okay, cool. What if I don't want to use it as a sniper support and push those ranges out? Up close it's certainly good, but there's always just that one thing preventing it from being at the top of its class in every scenario. For that close range meta, it's the movement speed penalty you get when running the 30 or 50 round magazines, which is an absolute must if you plan on getting more than 1 kill before having to reload. The base movement speed with no attachments is right in line with the other SMGs at 5 meters a second, but no one is using any SMG with no attachments. Slap on those bigger magazine attachments and your movement speed will decrease. So what does a fully kitted out CX-9 look like? Since it's more of a jack-of-all-trades SMG, you've got a couple options, which is one of the upsides of this weapon. You can really build it how you like it. For your sniper support or mixed build, you'll want to start actually at the barrel attachment. Usually the muzzle is the biggest defining factor when it comes to boosting that bullet velocity and range, but the CX-9 has a barrel item that actually performs as a 2-for-1 buy one get one free. The last barrel option, the 38S, acts as an integrated suppressor and boosts your damage range and bullet velocity, a lot like the go-to GRU suppressor on several of the ARs. And since you don't have to waste an extra slot on a muzzle attachment, it opens up the CX-9 to more custom tailoring your SMG experience. It's like your very own personal choose-your-adventure book, except the adventure we're going on is called War, and there's no path for a happily ever after. For your standard loadout, you can slap on an operator foregrip and a clutch grip, which will both help with getting that recoil under control. No matter what, you'll always want to be running the 50-round mag, otherwise you'll just be mowed down anytime you run into any more than one enemy. For your last slot, you still have several different options to choose from. If you feel like your strafe speed while engaging enemies is too slow, put on the FA stock. This will also boost your ADS speed without hurting your recoil control like the FR stock does. Or you can even run a perk or an optic on this CX-9. Sleight of hand will make your reload time super snappy, and an optic like the GI Mini Reflex will really clean up that sight picture. I personally am not a fan of the iron sights, since the body of the weapon takes up a large percentage of your screen compared to something like the Mac-10, especially on console with our super low field of view. If you do plan on using the CX-9 on Verdansk as a sniper support, running a sight can also help you pick out darker character models like the Rose skin, because I find they blend in really well with the iron sights, making them incredibly difficult to track. So that's your typical all-around CX-9 build. Really pretty solid up close and usable against targets in your mid-range. But what if you don't care about picking off Rose skins from a distance? What if you like being right up in people's faces, spreading COVID and melting through their armor? Then the max mobility hipfire build has got to be your go-to. Your recoil control is going to be significantly worse when aiming down your sights, but your hipfire spread is a freaking laser with this loadout. You'll want to run the monolithic suppressor, 5mW laser, FR stock, Merc foregrip, and of course the required 50-round drum mags. With this setup, there's no wasted time having aimed down your sights. You just run in guns blazing and your hipfire beams will practically lock onto the target for you. And I mean, with all the hackers and cheaters there are out there currently, you might as well even the playing field with the best close-range attachment combo you can muster. Seriously, might as well do as much damage as you can before you ultimately get domed by a guy clear on the other side of the map aim-locking to your head. But now that you've got two solid attachment setups for your CX-9, I'll give my overall thoughts on the SMG as a whole. Is it viable in any capacity, be it up close or as a sniper support? The answer is yes, it is viable, but it's certainly not the best at either one. You definitely can do well with the CX-9, don't get me wrong, but it's not the most OP SMG out there, which generally means it's pretty well balanced and in a good spot. My ultimate advice would be to unlock it and try it out for yourself. Get it maxed out in multiplayer, and then play several different games on Rebirth or Verdansk with it in one of the various weapon setups, because you honestly may find that it works really well for you and can have the potential to be your favorite SMG. For me though, I gave it the old college try and I just didn't fall in love with it. It was good, but I just play better with and like the feel of the Mac-10 more, so that's what I'm going to stick with for now, or at least until the Season 5 update goes live shortly and all the balance changes they implement make this video obsolete. And if you're watching this after Season 5 starts, well, hello! Hopefully everything didn't change, but let me know in the comments which style is your favorite for the CX-9. Do you like the more jack-of-all-trades build, or do you run it as a hipfire machine? I'm always happy to hear from you in the comment section, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing to become a member of the Moo Crew today. And despite some of you asking, yes, I do also stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/MrMooMan11. Just make sure you have all notifications turned on so you can catch me live. As always, thanks so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.